Hello and welcome to What's News, our bi-weekly look at the world of science. This week we're going to talk about hum, the universe, donkeys, elephants, no, that's where they go, universe, elephant, what are you elephants? Horses, dolphin, no, Voyager 2, and Underpants. We're going to kick things off a long time ago, more than 13 billion years ago to be exact. The universe was created, and ever since then time has been moving forward. As time passes, entropy, the measurement of energy dispersal in a system, has headed towards the point of highest entropy. A quick example of entropy is a log fire. The solid wood burns and becomes ash, smoke and gases, all of which easily spread out and move the energy away. Each time a clock ticks, entropy or disorder is created. Scientists have measured the entropy generated by clocks with varying levels of accuracy. The new findings suggest that the more accurate a clock is, the more entropy it emits. Machines increase disorder as they operate by giving off heat that boosts the entropy around them. This is why a standard battery-powered clock produces entropy as it ticks. To test the entropy of a ticking clock, a clock was made out of a thin membrane, tens of nanometers thick and about 1.5 millimeters long, which is suspended across two posts. As an electrical signal was sent into the clock, it caused the membrane to flex up and down. This motion was repeated at regular intervals like the ticks of a clock, and an antenna was used to measure that motion. The more powerful the electrical signal, the more accurately the clock ticked. Now, as the accuracy increased, the entropy produced increased. This entropy was detected as heat by the circuit's antennas. So if you want a more accurate clock, then you'll have to pay the price for an increased amount of entropy, but you will be on time. A citizen science project underway in Switzerland will be burying underpants. Yes, you heard that right. The scientists involved in the project have sent the underwear to be buried in the volunteers' gardens. They hope to dig up the pants and analyse the effects that tiny organisms have had on the pants as a way of testing soil health. The pants themselves are made of 100% biodegradable organic cotton and act as a food source for the various microorganisms in the soil. The more organisms, the more the pants will be eaten. The plan is to bury two sets of pants in volunteers' gardens and dig one up after 1 month and then the other after 2 months. Never before have pants been so useful in the process of science. Science pants! Ever looked down at the airport while flying over it and thought, why don't they use the roof for solar panels? Airport buildings and their plane hangars take up a lot of space, with the roof space rarely being used. With the growing demand for greener energy, airports have now started to use the roofs to mount solar panels. The first airport to install solar power and become completely energy self-sufficient was Cochin International Airport in India back in 2015. They installed 46,000 solar panels, which can produce up to 12 megawatts of power. A recent study found that if Australia was to install solar power on all 21 of its airports, this would cause a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions of up to 152 kilotons a year. That would be the equivalent of taking 71,000 cars off the roads. Now, when we install solar panels on or around an airport, we need to think about some certain risk factors. For instance, the solar panels must not produce a glare that will disrupt pilots and air traffic controllers, and the panels should not cause any interference with radar communications. Now, here in the UK, the weather is a bit unpredictable, unlike in Australia where it tends to be sunny a lot of the year. So solar panels on airports here in the UK would need a storage system for when the sun isn't shining. Wild donkeys and horses may be able to help quench your thirst if you're living in dry areas. They've been seen digging into the dusty sediment to reach cool groundwater. This ingenuity may have massive benefits for the ecosystem. The wells they've provided have produced the only water sources in some areas where streams have run dry and provided up to 74% of the available surface water to drink. Now, researchers have observed a variety of different animals visiting these wells, including migratory songbirds, mountain lions, and even a black bear. And the wells can provide a moist place for young saplings to grow. Now, it's important to remember that this benefit was seen at only a few locations, and the true effects of wild donkey and horse populations is really undetermined. But for this one small instance, they were having a massive impact and a positive impact on the ecosystem. Tiny songbirds, such as the great reed warbler, can cover huge expanses of desert or ocean on their migrations. How do these birds, some as light as half a golf ball, cover the 7,000 kilometres between Northern Europe and Sub-Saharan Africa. A recent study using data from over 40 years of research has shone light on this conundrum, with the discovery that these birds soared at heights of over 6,000 metres, which is about 3 times higher than they would normally fly. Now, the conditions this high are incredibly harsh, with the temperatures being below freezing and there being very little oxygen. Some individuals were actually found to be able to stay aloft for more than 32 hours. And that the flight is so challenging that the temperature change caused by the sun rising forced them to migrate only at night. Almost 14 billion miles from Earth, the furthest human-made object is still accelerating. Voyager 1, which left the Earth in 1977, was on a mission to explore the outer gas planets. In 1998, it became the most distant spacecraft ever, and in 2013, Voyager entered interstellar space. Now, as it did this, Voyager started to detect a hum. The faint but constant vibrations have been detected in this interstellar space. Scientists are unclear what has caused this hum, which is being measured by ripples in plasma. Stella Ocker, one of the authors of this new research, said, Voyager 1 is in an interesting region of space that is outside of this thing called the heliosphere, which is the protective bubble that encapsulates all the planets in the solar system. The work Voyager is doing is allowing us to understand space far out of our solar system. Underpants!